Hello, good morning.
ఇప్పుడు వస్తుంది సౌండ్ తగ్గించాలి.
Yeah. Good morning, doctor. Welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, participants. Thank you for joining in time. We are waiting for a few more participants to join in. So please allow us, give a grace time for few more moments. So we'll formally accept all the members and we'll start the session. Meanwhile, I'll take an opportunity if anyone wants to introduce himself or herself, please come on the stage and introduce yourself. So this will give us a better connect. So Mr. Dr. TNG Sharma, can you please introduce yourself till the time?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Good morning. I am Dr. Sharma. I am working as a manager for Federation of Asian Biotech Association, Hyderabad. Yeah, ours is a charitable and a non-profit organization.
Okay.
Yeah, I am working there for, it is there for since 2004.
Okay.
Sorry, 2004, yes. Yeah, nearly 15 years plus.
So
yeah.
Oh, so what are the services, sir, you're providing?
Actually, our objectives are to promote and safeguard the overall interests of biotechnology.
Wonderful.
Yeah, to provide a common platform for academy, industry, and government bodies in Asia to come together and interact.
Okay.
Okay, to lead the study and the business teams in the member countries for promoting academic and industrial collaborations.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we recently started our FABA Academy also. It focuses on making the candidates industry ready.
Okay.
We prepare the students for biotech and pharma industries by providing skill development programs, career guidance, and transferring innovation and entrepreneurship skills set.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Even Modi ji, day before yesterday, he announced like a big things on skill development.
Yeah. Today only it is actually Monday we will start first webinar on FABA Academy activities.
Biotechnology is booming like anything right now as such.
Yeah, that is more, yeah, correct.
Welcome.
So tomorrow morning I will send the link to you so that if you could, I will give my address, my email address. If you give me your email address, I will send this and you can also join there, sir.
Pleasure, sir. Pleasure.
Yeah, because you can also spread to other students also as well.
Absolute pleasure, sir.
Yeah, ours is the FABA Academy. Website is website in our website is also it is there. Ours is biofaba.org.in. Ours that is the website. My mobile number is.
Sir, how you join this session, sir? Can you for my knowledge, so we'll have.
No, Professor Reddanna, he is our executive president of University of Hyderabad. Yeah, he forwarded me this message. You asked me to join. He is our executive president.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was joined, sir. I joined this.
Can you please drop me the mail ID? We will in the chat.
I already sent, sir. You see in the chat box.
Okay. Sorry for that.
No, it's all right.
Any other gentleman would take the opportunity to introduce? So Mr. Kurti, he will also be able to connect with you well. He will be able to understand what business you are into. So if anyone wants to introduce and come forward. Meanwhile, there are some names who are coming with the name of iPhones and Vivos and all. So we'll appreciate, please, if you can rename yourself. So just to have a better connect with you. So one is iPhone is there, Galaxy is there. So please rename yourself.
Okay, sir.
Welcome, Mr. Raja. Surya, Ronak, if anyone wants to introduce, before we start the session, we have still few moments left to initiate the session. If anyone wants to come on the board, welcome. Please introduce yourself. Miss Sanju, can you introduce yourself?
Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
Very good morning. I am Anju, and I am an entrepreneur, and I'm a founder of Pratyaksh, which is into designing, writing, and editing.
Okay. So can we, with your permission, can we start the session?
You can actually. I think we have passed the time, no? So we can start.
We have 5 minutes already, So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again on board. So, it's a privilege and honor to have Mr. Chandrasekhar Kutti as today the guest speaker, and he'll take you through, understanding the technicalities and what are the issues you are facing as an entrepreneur or as a startup or in business forum. So, if there is any query, he's the right bat to connect in today's world. With his expertise over 20 years in as a chartered accountant. Please unmute yourself. Please mute yourself, everyone. Please be on the mute mode. So, Mr. Chandrasekhar, he has been delivering trainings for GST and has been a partner with the CA firm. He has been doing the rounds of, he has conducted rounds of trainings, and he is into academic front as well. So if there is any query or concern with regards to GST, please connect to him right away. For us also, me also as a chartered accountant, or Suresh also, so we always take his advice for GST. So before I formally initiate the session, let me introduce ourselves. We are team Accounts Wale. Most of you have been joining our sessions regularly. So we are a team of qualified industry professionals as well as chartered accountants and people from the finance background. We are closely working with CA and CS firms across India and provide expert advisory services to the business by understanding the pain points. So if anyone wants the details, please log in our website, accountswale.in. These are our promoters, like Suresh Vankar is on the left with the manager. He's a management graduate with 20 years of experience in accounts, finance and HR domain. And on the right is myself, Falgun Shah. I'm currently based out in Dubai, UAE. Due to lockdown, I'm currently in India. And I am a co-founder for Accounts Wale. So I'll not take much of the time. So, sir, we will initiate the session. Please welcome, and you can start the session, and you can members can then thereafter his introduction can start sharing the questions or the concerns. Yes, sir. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Falgun. Thank you, Suresh, for giving this opportunity. Good morning, everyone. See, in GST, you cannot be an expert because every minute the GST is changing. So you cannot say you are perfect in GST. So we are all learning GST. And day by day, I think it is becoming more and more complicated. So this session, initially I will just give a brief on how the GST came. I'm sure most of the people will be having some knowledge about GST here. So basically GST, as everyone knows, was launched on 1st July 2017. Before that, you had plethora of indirect taxes like excise, VAT, customs, still it is there. So you had some 17 indirect taxes which got merged and GST came. So what was the main reasons GST came into limelight was because one is you had 17 taxes, indirect taxes, which all the businesses have to undergo in their daily life. Then the taxes were, it had a cascading effect. you are paying tax on tax. So if you pay VAT, excess duty on excess duty, there was VAT. So there was tax on tax. Then there was no seamless credit. That is what you pay on one law, you cannot adjust against another law. So many difficulties states used to face and the center used to face with the SSC. So it was almost 10-15 years exercise to bring GST to our country. And finally, I think 2015 or 16, we had this model GST law, and then process started, and it happened pretty fast. So since it happened pretty fast, the complications and the difficulties also were, I think, very high. And on 1st July, the government decided we will be implementing GST throughout the country. So it was a bold decision because if you see excise laws, VAT laws, which was sales tax laws, they are all very age-old laws which was settled. All the disputed matters were settled. Business could there was no unpredictability in the law. And then to change all those things and bring a new law, it's a very tough thing. And for a country as diverse as us, it is a very difficult thing to bring a new law. But they took a bold decision, and on 1st July, they introduced GST. Now, GST basically, it's a technology-based law. It depends on technology. So we expected from 1st July 2017, when GST got introduced, the technology will be there in place so that the implementation will be smooth. But what happened since the draft, there was a model law, the model law, also 2-3 phases of model law was there. And then in February 2017 only, a clear picture of the act came. So the system which is handled by GST Council, there is a GSTN which handles the infrastructure, were not ready. They didn't have much time because till the time they got act in their hand, it was March. So they had hardly some 2-3 months to create the whole infrastructure. So initially the GST failed because the technology was not in place. So the due dates kept on extending. You didn't have too many returns. The portal was not ready to file returns. So a lot of difficulties in the first 1 year people faced, and slowly, I think we have also come to terms, and technology also settled down. And today we have GST, which is running okay. Now, who takes decision in GST? Now, see, GST, it is in before law, you had sales tax, which was any VAT collection inside the state. Constitution gave power to the states to tax goods, and services was taxed by the center. Any interstate movement of goods only will be taxed by the center. So Constitution had actually bifurcated what will be taxed by the state, what will be taxed by the center. Now GST had to bring this change where both central and state government will have power to tax both goods and services. So they amended the Constitution so that both have powers. And who takes decision in GST? The GST Council. See, we always have a wrong notion telling the whole power of GST is with the central government. Actually, that notion, that thinking is totally wrong, because if you see a GST Council, Constitution has actually created a body called GST Council. Now that has got enormous power, because 2/3 of the majority of the members in the GST Council is represented by states, and only 1/3 is from the central government. So the more power in GST Council and the GST, it is with the states rather than with the center. So GST Council takes all the decisions. Now, if suppose the rates have to be increased, reduced, something new has to brought in the GST, exemptions, classifications, all those things actually GST Council will decide. And the good part is, very rarely it happens in our country where we see each state has got its own government and you have this infighting going on. And GST Council is a place where all these governments come together and they have to take a decision. Just imagine Congress government also is sitting there, BJP government, all kinds of parties will be sitting there and taking decisions. And till now we had some 40 GST Council meetings as on June. In 40 GST Council meeting, not even one, only once actually you had to vote. 39 GST Council meeting decisions all were unanimous. That is, they never took any voting. It was all unanimously decided, all the decisions. Only in one of the GST Council meetings regarding lotteries, where how much the lottery has to be taxed, there only voting was done. Otherwise, all these are unanimous decisions. So whatever decision on GST actually is taken both by state government and central government. It is a uniform decision by everybody. So it's very wrong to say if GST has failed, it is because of GST Council. If it is a success, it is because of GST Council. It is nothing to do with central government. So now, since IT infrastructure, which we are talking about, was a problem, and slowly now they've started bringing that to normalcy. But the whole, what you say, the purpose of GST was everything should be actually tracked by the technology. Now that is what still it is lacking in GST. Now, if you see the original, our act, GST Act, there is a return called GSTR1, GSTR2, GSTR3. Now, why this GSTR1, 2, 3 is there? GSTR1 is outward supply, GSTR2 is the inward supply, and GSTR3 is the final return. Now, when the GST was introduced, you had only GSTR1. GSTR2, 3, they kept on postponing. So they had to bring a form called GSTR3B. Now, that itself is a controversy because the courts have told that is not a return at all, because as per Act, they never mention a return called GSTR3B. So they introduced 3B so that people can file their returns and pay their taxes, because for paying taxes, GSTR3 was not ready. So there was GSTR1 and there was GSTR3B. 2 and 3 never saw the light at all till now. Now what is 2? See, if somebody filed GSTR1, they can see in GSTR2, whoever has filed a GSTR1, whether it is right, wrong. If it is wrong, you can actually, there is something called 1A, which you can actually return back to the supplier and say, this is wrong, you correct it. So there was a check system where if something is wrong, you can tell the other person it's wrong. Or if he has not uploaded, you can tell him it's wrong or it is not uploaded. So this check system was missing or is missing in present system. So there is something called 3B, which whatever figures you fill in that is what it is. There is no check system. So somebody files gives us a credit in 2A. There is no mechanism to tell the government or to tell the supplier that figure is wrong or I have not got the credit. So the whole flow of the GST system is not in place. So we have got a lot of difficulties now. Many of the taxpayers are, and over and above that, you have got so many people who are doing fraud. Now, if you see the recent calculation of the statistics department, overall collection of GST, 2% or 3%, there is a fraud. So just because this 2-3% of the collections or the amount, there is a fraud happening, the 98 to 95% people are made to suffer. Now I'll give you some few examples. Now if you see transitional credit, now you had something called transitional credit in GST, where in an old law, in erstwhile law like excise and VAT, if you have any credit in stocks or in credit ledger, you could shift it to the GST so that you don't lose that credit, it gets carried over to the GST regime. Now what happened? The same technology problem, system was not working, they kept on delaying the due date, and finally the due date was 26th December 2017. Many people could not still file. because there was technology problem. They will see something will be uploading. Finally, after 1 or 2 days, they will see the data itself is not there. It has happened in many cases. Now, what happened? Government should have understood this and told there is a problem, and we have got the right to take the credit of that. Why a person should lose just because there is a change in law? But government never gave an opportunity, and people had to go to the court. And many high courts, Delhi High Court, Bombay High Court, many high courts gave a judgment. It is a right of a person to take the credit, and government should open up the portal and give timeline till 30th June 2020 to take this transitional credit. But government never did it. I think this kind of one-sidedness, where because there is a law, people were unaware, or they were that time the technology was not up to the mark, they could not take the credit. I think they should give some time and let the people take the credit. So I think that mentality, I think that to make a GST a success, that mentality of even the officials and the government also has to change. Not only they should expect a change from the taxpayer. If they say taxpayer has to be technologically, they should update themselves. There should be all these returns you should file. So when they expect something from a taxpayer also expects something from the government, and they should not see a taxpayer from a suspicious angle. I think that was recently happening too much, where a lot of notices and raids and inspections were happening, and harassment also was there. So that is one area where transitional credits. Now there was something called Rule 36(4). I think that also you'll be knowing, where they restricted the credit, how much you can take in your return, to 20%. So if you have got 100 rupees credit, they will allow, if whatever is there in the 2A, they'll allow 2A is whatever credit is available with you will be appearing in 2A. So whatever in 2A, eligible credit, whatever is available in 2A, you can take the credit, and they allow 20% over and above that credit available. So that was again reduced to 10% from 1st January 2020. Now, when the system itself of GST is not in place, where you don't have two GSTR 2, GSTR 3, now one supplier doesn't file his GSTR 1 return, how do a customer inform the government or inform the system, I have paid the amount to him, I have taken the services or goods, I have given the amount to him, he has not filed the returns. So how can I be penalized? You give me a mechanism where I can put it in the system, you go and catch him. How can I be responsible where I have already given the GST amount to him, and he has taken that amount, eaten that amount, he has not filed the returns, and then you are again penalizing me for not filing the returns. I think that is again a very, very harsh rule which they got. Again, it is challenged, and many of the high courts actually have passed decisions telling that is arbitrary, not as per the law, because Act doesn't restrict. You are bringing rules which is contradicting to the Act. That was one area where ITC restrictions were got. Then time limit for claiming the ITC. They told within September of the next year you can claim the ITC if you have not claimed. If you don't claim within that time, then you permanently lose the ITC. So there are so many provisions like this which is not user friendly. See, the Act should be to encourage people to come into line and give them some freedom to do it. See, it should not be too strict. So if you make it too strict, then there is always a scope for harassment, and you know very well, if harassment happens, how to come out from the harassment, there are so many other ways. So you are opening doors for all other things. So Act should be very simple, very easy to understand for a normal business. When you say ease of doing business, I think it should be very easy for all the businesses to follow the Act, rather than every day a new notification comes, they contradict their own old notifications. And I think it should be more simple. So this is just a brief. If you keep on talking about GST, I think it will be hours together. So I don't want to waste much time. As far as possible, I can, if any queries are there, I can take the queries, and if I cannot answer it immediately, maybe I can share. You can share the email ID to Falgun or Suresh, and we can come back with an explanation to you. So I think the floor can be open for questions, so we can discuss about the problems.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Chandrasekhar garu.
Yes, sir.
Very good and very informative. And I
Yes,
am new
sir.
to this subject, but I work as a manager, but accounts are being looked after by his current concerned staff. But ours is a FABA, Federation of Asian Biotech Association, which was registered in 2004 under Society under Section 139 4A. And exemption claim, I want to know the exemptions claim towards GST and income tax. Could you please detail, sir?
What type of exemption, sir? You're telling whether
ours is a non-profit society association, Federation of Asian Biotech Association, where we will do this helping. Our objectives are totally different, sir. To promote and safeguard the overall interests of biotechnology. To promote
what is your income, sir?
Income is 10 lakhs below the like that. Sir.
No, what type of income?
That is a membership. The people will, companies, they will enroll their memberships in association. Thereby, we will receive the membership fees, a maximum turnover of 15 lakhs to 20 lakhs maximum per annum. It is for the working since 15 years.
Okay. Now, see, I will not cover the income tax portion because this is GST question answer. So I will cover myself to GST.
Yes, sir.
Now, see yours. It's always a controversial. Now, recently there was a decision on Calcutta Club, and there is a Rotary Club decision by Bombay advance ruling also recently. I think last week Rotary Club hearing judgment also came. Now, see it as per GST law, because this issue was actually a burning issue in service tax. And it was a litigated matter where department used to say any membership fees collected by a club, it is eligible for service tax. Then it went to all the courts, and court told no, the members and the society are one. They are not two different people, it is only one. And to rectify the flaw in the law, in GST what they brought is, they brought the definition of person itself. They brought a club and the members as two different people. Now, whether is it legally right? I say no, because the same thing even the advance ruling also has told in Rotary Club. See, where in Rotary Club you collect membership fees, but you spend it for your expenses. Actually, you collect, for example, you collect 10,000 rupees from each member, and you spend it for your meeting expenses, you spend it for your maybe a dinner expenses, or you spend it for yourself. You don't actually use it for anybody else, and there is no service which Rotary Club gives to the members. See, there has to be two. If you take money, I have to give you service, so there has to be two-sided. It cannot be one side. So there has to be consideration. In sort of consideration, I should be giving you service or goods. So in your case, you are not giving any service to your members. You are actually taking the membership fees.
Actually, we are rendering service by way of workshops, conferences, and for the academy, we are Monday onwards we will start this FABA Academy, wherein the students are taken up from the colleges and through industry. We will impart the training to them relevant to the industry training, and they will be absorbed in the underemployment. So that type of service, we are spending the money like that for training and exchange of information, conducting our service for academic purpose.
So what you can do?
Non-profit organization.
See, what happens now, sir? See, the non-profit or the charitable activity as per income tax cannot be brought into GST. For income tax, charitable activity is something different, where you get 12-way registration and you need not pay tax. So that 12-way registration takes care of the income tax portion. But in GST, You can
Yeah,
refer.
ours is registered under section 12A also, sir.
Yeah, that's what, sir. So 12A, see, all the 12As are not actually exempted from GST. If you please refer notification number 12/2017 dated 28 June 2017, where they define what is a charitable activity. So they say any 12A registered society or a trust providing services. So they define what is charitable activity. So I actually think yours may not be a charity, but anyway, you have a look at it, notification 12, where they mention what is a charitable activity. If you get covered in that, you will be exempted under GST. Otherwise, I doubt because.
Yeah, excuse me, sir. For the past 14 years, they are filing the IT returns also, where it is our auditor mentioning under section 12A, under AA, it is yes, as registered under section charitable.
Yes, sir.
So, but however, we are paying GST. That's why I'm questioning whether if we pay
Exactly.
the GST, can we
Yes,
get
sir.
more?
That's what I'm coming, sir. See, because income tax is exempted because you have got a 12-way registration, so that is right. So that doesn't automatically make even GST also exempted, because the charitable activity as per income tax is different. Charitable activity as per GST is different.
Okay.
Because in charitable activity, that's why I told you, refer notification number 12/2017. Charitable activity, there is a list given. So it is basically health related. Like if you are AIDS, you do a care or counseling for AIDS, or something related to health, preventive health, or yoga. See, there are some spiritual and yoga. See, there are some limited scope of charitable activity as per GST. If you come under that, it will be covered as an exemption. Otherwise, I fear you will come under GST.
Sir, one more thing, sir, because the universities are also enrolled as membership here. For example, University of Hyderabad, and where they under section 8 they are registered. They said they do not have GST also. And similarly, some donations also we will receive. So this is we will use exclusively this money only for the academic purpose, for the students or the faculty, so for training purpose. We will have import training also. We have the different chapters in India, another North India chapter, similarly in other countries.
Sir, we have to study that, because what happens, we have to find out whether there is a supply here, because the main the chargeability of GST is on supply. So there has to be a supply of goods, or there has to be a supply of services as per section 7. So if you have to actually find out whether there is a supply here, so by I think just giving a little details, so it becomes difficult to give an advice.
Okay,
so I think if you can give a detailed thing, we can work on it. I think that is better.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else? No one has got a doubt? So if no one has got a doubt, there are only two things. One is either you know everything about GST, or you don't know anything about GST. You can be free, means you can ask me any question, any type of question.
Hello,
yes,
sir. I'm Gopinath from Dindukal.
Tell me, sir.
So in my case, there is a wrong ITC in the month of August 2017. It's what a wrong mistake. It's a clerical mistake. In 3B, we are going to raise ITC amount, purchase ITC amount. 3,57,000 we have to put in CGST and SGST. In that time, the CGST amount we have to type. Then SGST amount also we want to type. There's a not automatically it won't come. In that, in our case, they are filed 3 lakhs mistakenly taken 3 crores. 3,57,000.00 we has to put. In GST 3B return, they not put the dot. Mistakenly, they put a 00. it's going to take a 3 crores 57 lakhs. Then we have find the mistake, and at the same time and the same month we raise the ticket. We have a mistake in the 3B return. What we have to do? In server GST server, they has not supported for us. There is no revise return for us, and you have to pay the amount, sir. In after 4 months, we pay the revise the ITC amount against purchase return, because there is no revise return in the 3B column. That
Yes,
also
sir.
we mentioned in the 3B, sir.
So now what is the
Now-
query, sir?
Now GST audit, they are raising the question. You have to pay for the interest that 4 months.
Yes, sir. Can I complete it, sir?
Yes, you have to pay the interest for that 4 months wrong ITC amount. But
Yeah, so-
I won't take the ITC amount. It won't used by us.
Yes, sir. That's what, sir. See, there are two things here. One is you made a mistake, but good thing is you have immediately complained. Okay, I have taken a wrong ITC, and you have written a mail to them and given a complaint. Thing is, see, there are two things. One is availment of credit and utilization of credit. Now, what happened? You excessively claimed 3.5 crores as ITC in 3B. So it was sitting in a credit ledger. Now, in the credit ledger, you didn't utilize that amount. It was lying in the credit ledger as it is. You didn't utilize. It was
I
carrying
won't
on.
utilize, sir.
Yeah, you didn't utilize. So it was going on for 3-4 months, and then you reversed it. You reversed that credit, and so you have not utilized. So you have got all the right to go to the higher up and tell them, yeah, I have not utilized it, and even only if I utilize it, only I have to pay interest. So your revenue is not got affected because of this transaction, and whatever amount I have to pay, I have paid within time. So interest liability doesn't come, and I'm sure this will be heard because you have got proof. Okay, you have informed the department. Okay, you have done this mistake. So I don't think anything is there. So you go to higher, but first you can go to the higher up. Maybe you can go to the assistant commissioner or the commissioner, give him a letter telling this is what is the problem. If that is also not happening, then I think you have to wait for the order. If they pass an order, you can wait for the order to file an appeal. I think, but this is a good case for appeal. You can definitely win.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, can I raise one more question, sir?
No problem, sir.
Yeah. What would be the maximum limit for turnover limit not to come under purview of GST?
See, sir, if it is services, is 20 lakhs.
Okay.
For goods, it is 40 lakhs, sir.
Oh, excellent, sir.
But again, not. There are some states, few states like northeastern states, where the turnover is 10 lakhs and 20 lakhs. So,
Okay.
other than that, it's 20 lakhs for service, 40 lakhs for goods.
Thank you very much.
But goods, you cannot do interstate. Goods has to be done within state. Interstate, there is no limit. If you do interstate with 1 rupee also, you have to get registered.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Services you can do.
Yeah, services. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So there are some questions from Ms. Anju Pasi. So can you unmute yourself, madam? Sanju? I'll read out the question.
Yeah.
So the question for her is it necessary to register commercial activity under labor law? What are charitable activities under GST?
Labor law, I will not cover. I will cover the second question of charitable activity. Like I was telling, you can refer notification 12/2017. So basically, charitable activity as per GST is related to health issues, preventive health, AIDS, HIV. That is one area it is covered. And second is persons addicted to a dependence on narcotic drugs or alcohol. If you're doing any counseling or care or counseling for such people, then public awareness of preventive health, family planning, HIV infection, or advancement of any religion, spirituality, or yoga. I think these are the things which is covered under charitable activity. Other than that, specifically, I don't think anything is there.
Madam, is there any query on this? And one more.
You can refer notification 12/2017 for charitable activity. Yeah, so there is a question from Ramesh Shukla. They say most of the restaurants and hotel industries charge GST as well as service tax. I think there is a wrong notion there. Actually, what has happened? No, most of the restaurants, when they changed from service tax to GST, these restaurants will charge service charges. I think most of them would be aware. Service charges. The service charges is different than service tax. So suppose 100 rupees is a bill, they may charge 5%, 10% as service charges. Service charges is something which is given. Some hotels will give as a tip to the waiter. Some will keep it as a percentage. So service charges is basically the service cost of the restaurant, and food they charge separately. So that is service charges plus food charges. They put it and then they charge GST. But what happens that service charges, by mistake, they mention as service tax. So it is not service tax, actually it's service charges. So, but if somebody is charging service tax separately, I think they should not, because service tax is not there now. So you should inform the restaurant, okay, that is wrong, you should not be charging service tax. Now there is only GST. So GST 5% only has to be charged.
Sir, if we pay GST under section 12A, can we claim for return later? If it is below 20 lakhs, not turnover, below 20 lakhs turnover under the service.
No, GST under 12A, I didn't follow, sir.
No, I talked to ours is a charitable non-profit organization. Actually, we have some accountants for some of the membership fees paid GST. So we have online, we have GST portal, they deposited the money. So can we claim for the return from the GST department? Is it possible?
We are telling by mistake you paid GST.
Yes, sir.
So you can claim. So if it is lying in cash ledger. See, if you pay GST, it will lie in the cash ledger.
Okay.
So you can claim. Yeah, you can claim refund under section 54.
Okay, sir.
Anybody else? That's it.
Is there
If
any
supplier, Raghavendra HS, if supplier not uploaded invoice in GSTR1, but I have taken input tax, what we have to do? Yeah, so that's what I was telling Raghavendra, there is a rule called 36(4), which has been introduced recently from actually from 9th October 2019, which was 20% earlier. Now it is 10% from 1st January 2020. That means you have to take credit only what is available in 2A. Over and above that, you can take 10%. That is, if you have got 100 rupees lying in 2A, eligible credit. So eligible credit means which you can take the credit. There are some ineligible credits also, like which is covered under section 17(5), like rent a cab and all those things. So whatever eligible 100 rupees, you can take another 10 rupees credit. So more than that, you are not supposed to take. So if you have taken, I think better reverse it. Otherwise, you heard one more speaker telling interest will be charged. So they may charge interest, it may come under litigation. Even though the matter is challenged in the court, if the amount is substantial, only take a chance. If the amount is not substantial, don't take a chance. You tell the supplier to upload and take the credit. Is there any open source software do you recommend for accounting? I will not recommend any softwares.
So there is one more question we left out from Tanya.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me, sir.
Sir, I'm CA Naveen Modi. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My query is with regard to section 17.5.
Yes, sir.
Just a question. There is a car workshop.
Huh.
They receive the cars for repair and maintenance. Those motor cars which are blocked under 17.5. They, do perform the work on those cars. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Are they eligible for the input credits?
No, you just repeat the question. Car belongs to you, sir, or means I didn't follow the question. Means you are repairing the car?
We are in the business of repair and
Business of repairs and maintenance of cars.
Car workshop. We are having car workshop.
Okay, sir.
And we receive the cars for repair and maintenance from different customers.
Correct, sir.
Those cars which are blocked under 17.5 means 13 capacity, below than 13 capacity, you can say. We are repairing those cars which are basically the ITC of which are blocked. We are performing repair and maintenance on those cars. We are in the business of repair and maintenance of cars, first of all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we are performing the maintenance and repairs on those cars, the ITC on which are blocked.
Yes, sir.
It means, capacity is 13, below than 13 capacity. 13 seats.
Yeah, I can answer, sir.
In that case, I'm just completing my question.
Okay.
Insurance, repair and maintenance
Yes, sir.
done is also blocked.
Okay, sir.
Okay. But the exception is for only insurance. The general insurance business, if they are in the insurance business and they give for the car, they are not covering the repair and maintenance business. If you go, the below, the 17.5 AB, I'm just asking, there is a car workshop which are in the business of repair and maintenance of cars. Okay. Are they eligible for the input credits, whatever? On the spare parts which they are getting or get. If yes, under which clause? 17.5 is not clear because they are specifically covering the insurance work. The insurance you are allowed. If you are in the insurance business, then it is allowed even for those cars. But they are not covering the repair and maintenance business.
Yes, sir. I can finish, sir. I can answer, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. See, if you see section 17.5, 17.5 says, no, as per the amendment, what has happened from 1st February 2019.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what it says is, what is blocked is if you buy a motor vehicle, which is less than 13-seater, exemptions are if it is for a transport of passengers or goods, or there is exemptions there. But what about that? If it is for your business purpose, other than that exemptions, if it is less than 13-seater, so more than 13-seater, there is no question, you can take the credit. So less than 13-seater, you cannot take the credit. Yeah. But you are not buying the vehicle, sir. Actually, your business is only to service the vehicle.
That's buying word is not it. That is disallowed in respect of the motor vehicles.
Yeah. So you are actually telling us you are on the maintenance part of the vehicle. Am I right? So you are doing your repairs and maintenance of the vehicle.
Then what was the need?
No, am I right, sir?
Insurance business then.
No. Am I right? You are in the business of repairs and maintenance of the vehicle.
Yes.
So you charge 80% on your outward supply.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you see section 17.5, it is very clear. If you are in the business where your outward supply also is same, you can take the credit. Now, insurance of what you are telling, sir? Insurance, which insurance you are telling should be eligible for input? Which?
Insurance of cars. Suppose we are buying, I have bought a car and get it insurance, it is disallowed.
No, you are in the business of maintenance, no, sir. You are business of maintenance. So
business, but No, I'm just asking. You go the 17.5 AB, I think. A, B. Okay. First of all, they are denying the credit on repair and maintenance and general insurance.
No, there we have to make it clear, sir. No, I think we are missing the boat. See, what happens is, as they refer to A and B. Now, why they refer to A and B is, now you buy a motor vehicle, which is less than 13-seater, which is not used, which is...
I'm just stopping you here. That is not buy. That is with respect to the car.
I'm coming there, sir. Sir, I'm coming there. I'm coming to that point only. You just allow me to complete. So what happens is, see, if you see the 17.5 subclause A, it tells about any motor vehicle, if you buy less than 13-seater, it should be used for either further supply of such that you should be a dealer, or you should be for the transportation of passengers, or you should be transportation of goods, or it should be for the driving license, your training for driving. Okay, if for such purposes, if you use less than 13-seater, is allowed. Other than that, it is not allowed. Now, if it is disallowed, what section 17.5 provision says is, if any expenses related to such motor vehicle is there, which is disallowed, also will be disallowed. Whereas, if it is allowed, that means any expenditure, including insurance, including repairs and maintenance, if it is related to such motor vehicle which was allowed erstwhile in 17.5A, will also be allowed. So if your original motor vehicle is disallowed under GST, that means all the expenses related to that motor vehicle also now will be disallowed, ineligible under 17.5.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So if supplier is not uploaded, if there is any open supplier information. Please tell us about SGST, CGST, IGST more. Is this our first day of GST class? Okay. Okay, there is no first day, second day. It will continue. So what is SGST, CGST, IGST? Now there are, though we say GST is one law, one nation, one law, but actually it is not so, where CGST Act is actually one act. But there are, previously how many states were there? There were 29 states. Now since Jammu and Kashmir is removed, now we have 28 states. So we have 28 SGST Acts. And we have union territories, which is with legislature. So there are 3 union territories which are with legislature. That is, they have got their own legislative assemblies. So they also have got their own SGST. So we have got 31 SGST Act, 1 CGST Act, 1 IGST Act. So what is IGST? IGST is anything which is, if it is interstate, so between 2 states, export, import, 2 states, it comes under IGST. SGST is basically whatever is between the state. CGST portion is again, now see what happens is, as you're aware, before GST you had excise duty, you had lot of central laws, service tax which got merged with GST. State Act also, the state VAT and everything got merged with GST. So what was decided is, each component will have a split of 50%. One will go to central government, one will go to state government. So the central government portion is called the CGST Act, which is governed by CGST Act, and SGST portion will go to state government, which again is governed by SGST Act. So you can see if any intrastate transaction within the state happens, you have got a component of CGST, SGST. Between 2 states, it is IGST. Import, it is IGST. So any intrastate, it will be split between CGST, SGST. Interstate will be IGST, but what happens in IGST also is it gets split into CGST, SGST, but it's done by the system. You will not know. In the background, it happens. So finally, suppose if you are supplying some goods to Uttar Pradesh from Tamil Nadu, suppose in Tamil Nadu to Uttar Pradesh in IGST, that will get split into CGST, SGST background, and Uttar Pradesh government will get the money. not Tamil Nadu. So, and UTGST, like SGST, there is a UTGST. So whichever union territory doesn't have a legislature, a common UTGST act is applicable. So there are multiple acts now. It's not one. It is not one nation, one tax. What everybody says is multiple taxes still. But yeah, it is uniform. That is all the sections. Almost 99% remain the same.
So there is some confusion, like, you know, we have invited a couple of students, a few students from the regular batch. So they are of different tones. I apologize on behalf of Mahbub, who is like, you know, he is a student, like he's from the arts background. So he was invited as a, you know, goodwill gesture by Suresh and me for this corporate webinar. So he thought of the other way around. So I personally apologize on his part, and I'm just speaking to him on personal level that it's not a regular curriculum. So you can continue with the question and answer session. So Mahbub, I mean, we can, you know, have a personal one-to-one discussion, or with Suresh you can chat in for whatever apprehensions or concerns कुछ भी अगर है हिंदी में पता नहीं, इंग्लिश में पता नहीं चल रहा है, so you can address to Suresh or me in person. And this is not a regular GST program what we are delivering. And right, so I apologize for this kind of behavior. This is unacceptable.
Somebody has told if it's Hindi possible, then it will be good. Hindi also chalega sir, लेकिन अभी हिंदी में क्या बात करना है? हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हो?
Yeah, Master, will you moving to other question, like is there any open source that is done? One question.
Papa is
Is there any other questions, like from Deep Gala? You have raised your hand. Is there any question you are having? Deep?
No, sir.
Okay, you have raised your hand.
I think there are no more questions.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Tanay, he has.
Yeah, I think Gopinath is asking again also.
Sir, one more question. In GSTR 1, 17-18 periods, we not uploaded a customer GST number, but we raised a customer sales. We put as a B2C.
Yes, sir.
Now there is no option to correct that, sir.
Yes, sir.
But other than customer asking in our 2A, there is no display in your bill, sir. So please return our taxes. But I given a letter or his transaction of bank statements and all other those documents to GST office. They are not accepting that. I am also giving the letter as yes, he is buyer of my customer, but he's they are not accepting the letters. What's the procedure to that?
Yes, sir. This for financial year 17-18, no, sir?
Yes, sir.
Annual return is filed?
Yeah, annual return is filed, sir.
So annual return, you have rectified this mistake?
So annual return, I rectified this mistake, but they are not in clerical mistake. There is a system error here. They are saying
No.
It's not uploading.
No, GSTR 1 is okay, sir. GSTR 1 mistake has happened. So the buyer is not getting the credit.
No, sir. I saw the total value of the amount, bill amount, 1 lakh something. But I not intimate a B2B customer. I put into the B2C customer.
Exactly, sir. What I'm telling is, now you have mentioned instead of B2B, you mentioned as B2C. So the person who had to get the credit has not got the credit. So now he is telling you to refund that amount. Now I'm telling that mistake of B2C has been rectified in annual return in B2C. In your annual return, that B2C has been rectified as B2B.
No, sir.
You should have
already filed. Yeah,
No,
we already
yeah.
filed. Now only they get a GST audit for that customer.
No, sir. Actually, see, there are two things. One is you should have rectified that when you are filing the return, because annual return was means a tool for you to rectify whatever mistakes has happened in GSTR 1 or 3B. So that was the important form where you could have rectified that. Since you have missed that also, there is one option to just write a letter to the department and take the credit. Let them see, since the amount is not that big, it again depends whether the amount is big, small. Small amounts or all this will go into litigation because department will not accept your stand, and then you have to go for appeal because you will pass an order which will have a demand. So I think you can see legally you can take the credit. There is no doubt about it. But then how much you will fight is a question.
Okay.
You
But
can fight
it's
it. There is you can actually take the credit, sir. There is no one can stop you from that, because in 17-18 the systems were really in bad shape. 2A also got I think it started appearing only somewhere in October November of 2017. So you could not have checked any credits that time. Bharti Airtel, there is a case law similar to your case only, Bharti Airtel, where they took wrong credits. And they won the case in High Court, Delhi High Court. So, but see, those are really big amounts, and you have to spend amount for appeal. So you have to take a call, sir, whether for that amount you have to go for appeal or settle it, pay the amount of whatever is there and close it. That is your call. But definitely you can take the credit. Nobody can stop you from that.
okay, sir. Don't mistake me. What
Yes,
is
sir.
a wrong credit, sir? Is a single person taking a ITC amount? It's a wrong credit. I'm also accepting it. Yes, I'm still here to sell the product to him. He also saying, I purchase him. I produce all documents, bank statements, transport copies, e-way bills, all the documents I produced. But they are saying, no, it's not right. It's a wrong thing. You done a B2C mistakes.
See, sir, they will say if whatever small mistake if you do, they will always say it cannot be rectified. So it's the way you convince the officer. So you have to convince, and generally what happens, you will be dealing with the superintendents or the lower level staff. You speak to higher level staff. They understand. They have got much better understanding of law. So what happens? This lower level staff will always try to squeeze something from you. So better, I think you can speak to higher ups, try to convince your case to them, write letters. See, always write letters, so don't be oral. See, many times we do a mistake is we always go and talk to them, but there is no proof we have spoken to them. So always, whenever you go to department, write letters, take acknowledgements. So whatever you have spoken should be put in the paper, take an acknowledgement. If they don't give you acknowledgement, send it by registered post. I think we have to slowly come into line where you have to be straight. So that being so, see, if you write a letter to them, they become extra cautious. Oh, they have written a letter to us, so we cannot just blindly tell anything. So I think start writing letters and make it more transparent.
Okay, sir. Nowadays, the GST portal, there is no granular ticket raising option, sir. Why, sir?
No, there is actually online you can raise a complaint, sir. You can actually raise a complaint. Ticket will be raised. There is a service request. You can do it.
Sir, last 2 months there is no option in GST.
2 months because sir, they are disabled because of the system upgradation, as well as there is a because of COVID. There were no workforce.
Sorry, from February first week onwards,
Yes, sir.
There is no ticket raising options.
You can write mail to them, no, sir. There is a mail ID.
Sir, there is no response for the mail ID.
No problem, sir. They will never they will respond, but at least you write. Tomorrow you got a proof with you, you have written, they have not responded. Always write. No, they will not respond, sir. They have got another lot of other work, sir. The department is very busy, so they will not reply. But at least you give a letter, and then at least you have a proof. I have written a letter.
Because I produce a ticket number now in GST audit, sir, for that 3 crores problem, and I send a mail copy also. They are not accepting that copies.
They will not accept, sir. That's what I'm telling you. You don't deal. If somebody in your junior level who is coming to audit is not accepting, go to the higher level.
Okay.
Till AC is not accepting, go to the commissioner level. Try your best. Don't negotiate only with that person who is not understanding. You go to the higher up. Higher people will understand.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Sir, is there any kind of GST return we do, like we do in income tax return? Just want to know, like I know little less about that. Can you please explain
GST returns, sir, I didn't follow.
GST returns, right? Like
GST
any
return?
like, can we do GST return? Like if we purchase something and we are uploading that GST in that.
Yes, sir. There are GST returns. No, otherwise, how government will know what you have filed? So, like income tax, there are GSTR 1, GSTR 3B, GSTR 4. There are so many other returns in GST which you have to file online.
Is it same like input tax return, GST return is the same thing? Like
Yes, sir. Input tax credit is the mechanism to take credit what you pay. It's a seamless credit. So whatever you pay to the supplier, you can adjust against your what you collected from your customer. So it is a seamless. So whatever you.
So it's same like GST return and input tax credit is kind of same thing, right?
No, input tax credit now it is what do you say, sir? It is all coming in one return now. 3B return, there is a return called 3B. So you put input in that, you put outward supply in that, inward supply, everything you mentioned. Finally, you will have the tax payment which you have to pay the tax. So everything is coming in one return. It's a very simple return.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a big topic, sir. If this has to be taken, it takes 2 hours because it's a vast subject. So how the input tax credit is taken, how it is adjusted against output tax. So that itself is a vast subject. So in this paucity of time, we cannot cover that aspect. Otherwise, I would have explained you in detail.
Okay.
So we are already 12:36 now. So if there is any question or concern, please drop in the text to me or to Suresh Accounts Wale. You can reach out to Sir also, Chandrasekhar Kutti also. So if there is any query or concern, because we have overshot the time by 5 minutes. So we will stay connected. We'll have a few more webinars, so you can join in. And do you have any question?
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, madam. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Renu Sharma, CA from Delhi.
Tell me, madam.
There was a sale to SEZ unit with payment of IGST in 1718.
Okay, madam.
And accountant mistakenly instead of taking refund, he took that amount in ITC.
Okay.
And I have disclosed in GST 9 properly, and GST 9 I also mentioned that amount was of payment of IGST, which should be taken as a refund instead of ITC. Now, is there any remedy available for that?
How you have claimed as ITC, madam? It is your outward supply. You have charged IGST.
Yeah, accountant didn't know that, so he himself took it in under ITC and claimed that instead of taking refund.
So you are doing supply to SEZ with IGST option. With IGST option.
Yes.
For which year, madam? 1718.
1718.
Yeah. So that excess claim of credit has been reversed.
Yeah.
In annual
return. In annual return, I have reversed that.
What about 3B?
No, in 3B he hasn't done that.
So 3B it has to be done now because you have claimed excess credit.
Yes.
So even though refund claiming is a different process, but then you have claimed excess credit. So that credit they will be charging you interest from, madam, as because since you have not still rectified in 3B.
Yes.
So that portion of excess credit definitely will be charged till the time you reverse it. So that risk you are having. So though you have rectified in annual return, you should rectify in your 3B also, no?
Yes. Can we claim a refund of that now?
Very challenging, madam, because GSTR 3B you have not mentioned, and then so what you have to do is, if you try to rectify and give a letter to the department, challenging but possible. Definitely it's possible, but then how easy it is, we have to find out. It
We
won't
can
be easy.
pay interest on that
That's what
amount
I'm
which we
saying.
have
Yeah,
taken
yeah.
refund.
Exactly. So you can pay the reverse that 3B, pay the tax, pay with interest, and then rectify because 2 years time is there. So I doubt whether that 2 years is over. It is 17, 18.
Yeah, 2 years has over. 2 years has been over.
If 2 years is over, it's very difficult to get the refund, madam.
That's why I was asking, what should I do?
Yeah,
Should I
2
try
years.
that?
You can try, but yeah, we don't know what are the chances, because 2 years over. So legally, you can say 2 years from annual return, rectified annual return. So
Yeah.
don't know. The chances look little bleak.
Okay, thank you. And one more question.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
there is some government building under construction, and my client has been supplying them air condition and furniture only.
Pardon?
So there is some government contract. My client has received from government department for their under construction building, and he
Okay.
is supplying only air condition and furniture to them. Will
Okay.
it come on to work contract, or
No,
it's just
madam.
supply of goods?
Lift.
No,
No,
AC
what is
and
supplying it?
furniture.
No,
AC
no, it
and
will not
furniture.
come. No, works contract in GST is very clear. It's only related to immovable property. Immovable property means whatever is immovable. Lift. Now, recently there's a judgment, even the lift is immovable property. So, whatever gets fixed with the building is a immovable property. AC and furniture are not immovable, so they doesn't come under works contract.
Okay. And if we are doing repair of furniture and building around 90,000 or 1 lakh rupees, and we are charging in PL account,
Yeah.
can we claim its ITC?
You can, but that has to be put under, it will not come under P&L. That ITC portion should go to the GST portion should go to input
No,
tax credit in balance sheet.
expenses we are charging in PL.
No, if you have already charged ITC, that is the GST portion also as expense, then you cannot claim.
No, not for expenses.
You have
Actually,
to
the
charge only
clause
the
of
cost. The GST portion has to be put under current assets in ITC,
that,
which you have to claim.
that I understood. I was asking about
You
like
cannot
we are not capitalizing that expenses. We are charging in PL.
No, that is okay, madam. If you had see expenses, it is now in GST anything you can claim credit. No, if it is in the course or furtherance of business, if you are paying GST, it's ITC is allowed. Only thing is the expenses only. That is, if 100 rupees is your expense, 18 rupees you pay GST. 100 rupees should come to P&L. 18 rupees should go to ITC account in balance sheet. Then you can claim. There is no problem.
Nay, with relation to immovable property, I am doing any repair further.
Repair, that also should not be what do you say, a permanent thing which you are doing in immovable property. A small repair, if charged up in the P&L account, you can definitely do. If it is capitalized, then you cannot do. If you
I
capitalize
have not capitalized that. Then I can take
P&L
it.
account, yeah, P&L account, if you charge, definitely you can take.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. We are almost through with the session now. So, if there is anything, please log into accountswallet.in, or you can connect to us in through mail or WhatsApp, the way we are connected. And if you need any assistance on GST, please connect to sir. Also, he is there to support to your queries or concerns way forward. It was a wonderful session, and it was a lot of learning and key takeaways for me in person today for today's. So a lot of things being shared, knowledge sharing by sir also. So we really appreciate your presence, sir. And a lot of things for me on personal front. I mean, the respect has gone beyond miles now for you. So thanks for conducting such a beautiful seminar, and we look forward for more. Thank you all for
Thank you. Yeah, we are always there. If any help, support, it's a learning experience for us also. Sometimes some questions come which we also don't know. So we tend to go and read, and it's always better to interact like this. I think it's a good experience. Thank you for giving an opportunity.
It was an impromptu which I really appreciate it. I like in person because there are a lot of clauses and sub clauses you remember by, so that was the key takeaway for me. The way you have recited, or you have memorized and presence. So I really appreciate your support for this. Lot of learnings for all of us for today, and thanks for such a beautiful webinar. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we look forward to join for the next week again. We'll have few more webinars. We'll keep you updated for this, and stay home, stay blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.